at the top. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for sticking around, guys. I do appreciate it. And this is going to be hard, to be perfectly honest, to talk about. I didn't want to, really, and it's just got to the point. I've gotten a lot of messages, people wanting me to comment on it, and I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and clear the air as best I can. And this is in regards to Double Toasted and Gigastar and recent comments that have been made. Again, the first thing, and I want to address, is just the Gigastar situation itself, since so much of this seems to be because of that recent controversy that Double Toast is currently going through. You know, in this sea of, I feel like, a lot of valid criticism from hundreds, if not thousands of viewers, I made comments about tokens. I made Herman tokens. I made a comment about it on Facebook. The 2-minute YouTube video that was promoting Gigastar and their new business venture, and a comment on Reddit, which was a response to another user. And people have asked about it on stream, and I've tried to deflect from it. And these comments, which amount to like just a handful of sentences, and just myself, have been made, I think, the face of this entire backlash to Double Toasted's Gigastar business venture. You know, originally I had no plans to further comment on any of this. But clearly, I have to now just face this face this entire situation, due to the fact that the entire, or at the very least, much of the Double Toasted apparatus is being targeted at me. You know, at this point, I want to explain my independent view. I'm not affiliated with Double Toast in any capacity anymore. I haven't been since August of last year. But I just want to explain my independent view of this. And I actually invite you to read the document that Korey himself did not initially explain in the initial video to potential investors, which is right there. Now, from what I observed, you know, Korey asked on stream to get a read on how people would feel about this particular business venture. Overwhelmingly, a lot of people advised him against it, but these concerns were seemingly ignored. Now, I know it's been said that Gigastar is SEC registered. It's a registered business, but that does not mean it is not predatory by nature. Gigastar, as it exists right now, June 10th, 2024, 5:34 p.m. to be more specific, it's currently registered in the tax haven state of Wyoming since just May of 2024. The business as a whole is quite young. The supposed evidence of legitimacy that Korey provided on stream for the venture were just some brief flashes of clips of YouTubers with upwards of like 1 million followers, in which case returns to investors are still menial. You know, so returns to Korey's potential investors of only 275,000 followers will be even less so. You know, from what I've read and I've researched and looked at this document, the venture is crypto related. You know, Gigastar is a crypto company. Investors will be given their shares in USDC token. That's crypto. And clauses in the 55-page document, it states that the conversion to USD, United States dollar, is at the investor's like own risk, due to just the fluctuating value of the US dollar itself. Now, the representative said to have been from Gigastar, that apparently was in the chat on Double Toasted during Friday's stream, Britt Carter 018, I think it's Britt Carter 018. They were not operating from an official Gigastar account and had just made her Twitch account, or just made their Twitch account that day. And based on what I observed, and I think what other people observed, she did not satisfactorily answer really any questions that were asked in the chat about this particular venture. You know, Gigastar's own Twitter account features posts talking about and promoting their involvement with crypto and the handful of YouTubers they've collaborated with. If you guys want to take a look at the Twitter, you absolutely can. I have that right there for you. I also managed to take some clips and images going into detail about the contract and what's involved. I have that. I can bring that up right here just to provide some more context. And again, you can see this in the document itself. But this is certain things that have been highlighted to me that I think are concerning. The RSU is also referred to as securities. We'll call it securities for the sake of convenience. It involves a high degree of risk that may not be appropriate for all investors. These are significant uncertainties associated with an investment in the securities, and the securities are not publicly traded. There is no public market for the securities, and one may never develop. An investment in the securities is highly speculative and should not be purchased if you cannot bear the financial risk of this investment for an indefinite period of time, who cannot afford the loss of their entire investment. And that is just one of the excerpts that I have. There's also this one, as more fully described in this Form C, the issuer, which is Gigastar, recently formed for the sole purpose of arranging for the sale of the securities in the offering and distribution of the net YouTube revenue as defined under summary calculation of net YouTube revenue to investors. The issuer does not and is not expected to ever have or hold any assets or liabilities except as held by the exchange agent prior to the closing of the channel drop or by the paying agent of or the issuer's omnibus account on the blockchain solely for distribution to RSU holders, or if any distribution amounts to investors could be considered revenue and expenses, sales, cost of goods sold at profit or loss. Additionally, the issuer is a disregarded entity for the U.S. tax purposes and therefore is not required to file any tax returns or pay any federal taxes. Similarly, under Wyoming law, which I brought up before, the issuer will not be required to file any tax returns or pay any income tax. That is, and then this other thing I just wanted to show you in regards to this venture or this organization. We have the announcement that Double Total channel drop is now open, and yet Gigastar, which again it's been said that this is not a crypto thing, but at the CMO of the company, Sarah McNabb, was a recent guest on the crypto conversion podcast by Brave New Coin, and there's other references to crypto as well. Now, with all that in mind, and the backlash from the community, I feel like my comments have been framed as the focal point of this just whole Gigastar controversy. It's been reframed in such a way, I feel like, to take away scrutiny from this venture, to pivot from people's scrutiny and instead just concentrate on something easier to go after, which in this case is a single individual. Listen, Korey has a lot of resources at his disposal and is pointing them at my direction, using the Twitch channel and multiple shows to do so, revealing my phone messages or text messages to prove a point of some kind. I would guess showing the contrast between my comments on Gigastar in those posts that I made on those websites, and I admit I made those posts, and what I guess I previously sent to him in the past in March. But again, those comments those messages I sent them have nothing to do with Gigastar or my criticism. Now, I'm very happy to address those text messages. As I said, I sent those back in March. At the time, I think in the message that he sent, I think literally the first sentence says, "I'm drunk." I think I was drunk, and I think I was on edible too. So a little bit of both, combination of both. And I state that just in the opening line. Now, I had previously sent a message back in January as well, which I believe he also brought up, asking him how he was doing after a show that apparently, I guess, went off the rails, or it was tense. For a variety of reasons. I sent that original message and the ones in March because I'll admit some part of me wanted to be his friend, despite our falling out. But soon after the second messages that I sent, within a short time frame, I came to learn that, like, behind the scenes, he was speaking ill of me, notably during after parties of live shows with, like, other toasties. And that's why I never messaged again after those initial messages in March. At that point, why even bother if that's just being done behind the scenes, behind your back. So I think that resentment and that falling out, the pushback from this Gigastar venture from the DT community, I think my token comments, and also the stress of, and this is something that I've never brought up on my stream before or like any platform, but I do think Korey's divorce has been very stressful on him, and I hope it's resolved as well as it obviously as it can be. But I don't see how that's related to Gigastar or my token comments. Lastly, and I think many people are aware of this, there is more to my departure from Double Toasted. There was definitely a series of things that led up to me leaving that made me very unhappy. But there was a particular thing towards the end that was weighing on me that I took issue with. That was the last straw, and it made me realize I needed to leave. And I am prepared to talk about it in specific detail. But for right now, I'll say it revolves around the association and platforming of several individuals who are members of the DT community, and other creators have spoken up about receiving harassment from them. I talked to Korey about this. Other people talked to Korey about this, but at the time, I didn't feel it was like my place to publicly speak about this on the behalf of the victims. Whose privacy I want to respect, and I don't want to drag them into this situation that is escalating, that keeps getting worse. Korey was made aware of this harassment numerous times by several different people, including some of the victims themselves. As I said before, I brought up, other people had brought up, but I think Korey chose to still associate with or had these people on the show anyway. To my knowledge, Korey has condemned one of the harassers on the show, but this person has since been welcomed back with open arms, and I think has also been involved with things behind the scenes. Despite saying all of that right now, airing all of that, I'm prepared to move on from all of this right now. I would prefer to at this point, and I'm sure others as well. I'm still going to be concentrating on my own platforms and making them better for viewers, for you guys, and Also, this is an aside. I also want to thank the people who have sent messages to me. You know, since a lot of this stuff has been coming out, but messages that were both, I think, of supportive and critical, or a combination of the two. You know, doing something like that is very hard, and I think, but despite that, no matter what the tone of them may have been, I think each one was earnest, and it came from a place of concern, and it was a very valid concern. So I want this to be the last time I talk about this, the very last time I talk about this, because it is exhausting. It's exhausting for me. I feel like it's exhausting for you guys and anyone else out there. And listen, I understand that this type of drama is tantalizing, for people to watch. You know, eventually, I feel like it all amounts to nothing. You're just inevitably directing all your resources, assets, apparatus, your voice into a void, and those things that are available to you and that time, I think they're better spent on other things that you're just passionate about, that your audience is passionate about. So again, I am happy to have this be the final time I talk about this, and I welcome everyone to stick around for more reviews and cartoons and cartoon reviews, video games, watch parties. We're going to discussions, because I think that's just far more enjoyable than just constantly addressing this and escalating it, because I don't want to escalate this any more than it's already been escalated. So I'm moving on from it, and I hope everyone can too.